1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Big MX Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Gebhart, and this episode is brought to you by Racetech Suspension and Engines. Let's be honest, it's probably been a while since you changed that oil in the fork, maybe got that shock service, and honestly, you could probably use a couple extra horsepower to get you up those hills, or at least get you a half decent start to start those motos. Trust in Racetech, and you're going to save some money if you mention Big MX Radio when checking out or call and order some parts. And they've got service centers dotted all over the map. You'll be happy you called those guys up. With me on the line, a very special guest. He's a friend of mine. He's a very, very good friend of mine. He's a repeat offender here on the Big MX Radio Podcast. He is the voice of both GNCC and the Bagger Racing League. He goes by the name of Zac Herrin. Zac, welcome back to the podcast. Been a while, buddy.
It has been, man. I'm glad to be back. Thanks for inviting me back on, man. It's been a fun season. Been some unique things going on. We were talking about it a little beforehand. We'll get into
hmm
it, but
hmm
yeah, man, great stuff going on, man. I've been able to do a little throttle therapy myself. I'm trying to BLB, baby, be like Brad, get out on the track a little bit
That's
more,
right.
and yeah, it's been good times and good stuff ahead for sure on this episode.
Complete side note. Are you 25 this year?
25, dude. I'll be 28.
28? Oh geez, yeah, you're an old man.
28, yeah, dude. There's gray popping up like.
Well, it's gonna be WUSA. I think they have a plus 25 class.
Oh yeah, yeah. Plus
So
25, you're officially an old guy in this sport. So,
oh yeah. Oh
um,
yeah.
yeah, we're set. So what I'm thinking is I'll be 28 in November this year. I'm
hmm
going to start lobbying now for the return of the plus 30 BC class. You see where I'm going with this? Gives me a
100%.
little bit of time to get,
Right.
get some things figured out, and then give us a year or two. We're going to show up meaning business. So we'll see.
Yeah, because that doesn't just happen like right away.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, this
18
is
months,
what do I call
possibly
it?
20.
A
Yeah.
3-year, 5-year plan, something like that. It's the only
hmm
thing I plan. My finances are a wreck, but everything else I'm planning much further in ahead. So
Best shape of your life, 31 years old, standing at the top of the stop. Would you do your own podium interview? Is the question.
I've interviewed myself before on the podium. Yeah, I think it was a bit of a cop out on the announcer's part, but
Yeah,
it's whatever.
I
We
like
handled it.
that. I think that needs to happen out at the ranch, which is also a it's unique or a what is it? It's an original tune of yours that will
Yep.
be getting all kinds of play all summer long.
Oh yeah,
We're excited about that.
we've started the growth. It's about a month before Loretta's into about 2 weeks
hmm
after Loretta's. The Spotify counts go up a little
It
bit
starts
more.
to crescendo. It
Yeah,
starts.
rather than fractions of pennies, I start making like almost pennies, like
Mm.
majority fractions of pennies. So, but yeah, out at the ranch, be sure to check it out, guys. This is the right time of year to use it. So,
Yes, sir. So in this podcast, we're going to talk obviously 250s, 450s from High Point this last weekend. We'll also touch on just the overall series as they're starting to shape up in both classes, including maybe even touch in a little bit on the WMX series, which has been compelling as well. You're our resident GNCC expert. That's why we have you on in the first place, aside from your well of knowledge on all things motocross. And yeah, we're gonna get into some throttle therapy. So why don't we crack things wide open? Hangtown or not Hangtown, High Point results, 250 class. It's been the Haiden Deegan show the majority of the year. The only two motos that he didn't win were 2 weeks ago in Colorado. He bounces back with a 1-1 performance. I guess this is just what you expect from a guy who's currently enjoying a 40-point lead.
yeah, I mean, I think you can't overstate how impressive Hayden's been this year. I know he's a bit of a dividing figure in this sport. It really seems like everybody loves
Polarizing.
or hates him. Exactly. Yeah. There's no just kind of like meh. It seems like everybody's got an opinion on this guy. And I'll be totally honest. I'm a fan. I like it.
Mm.
I enjoy it as a fan of the sport and not of
All of
specific
it?
riders. All of it. All of it.
Mm.
Okay. Here's what I'm getting at. I think nobody does everything right in the full scope of things. Nobody has, picture perfect results every time they're on track or on court.
End up
Picture
on that
perfect.
one.
Yep, picture perfect on interviews, on photos. It's one of those things where people slip up from time to time. But what I do like about Hayden is the guy's raw. I mean, he's as raw as it gets. He's straight up. He's confident, and I mean, as much as people don't like to say it, Americans, we like that confident, that swagger that he carries. And I tell you why I really like it is because he backs it up when it counts. I'm a fan of the mind games you talk about. We know I'm a fan of MMA. Early Conor McGregor and the things that he would do and say to his opponents. Learning Jose Aldo's home language and telling him he's going to die in that language. Those are little details that go a little extra, a little bit further. Taking a photo of a simple gallon jug of water and saying, got to make sure I don't have electrolyte deficiencies. Those are the little things when you line up on Saturday, almost like Jason Lawrence-esque,
Hmm.
except this dude's also a dog on the track. He's focused, he's clearly fit, and I mean, responding to what was a terrible weekend. I'm talking about a second and a second, one of which was a mechanical issue. And getting right back into form, fit, and function. He gets out there, he performs like he needs to, and he doesn't need to chatter quite as much on the microphone that time because he did the response, right? And so it's interesting, man. I'm a fan of it. I think it's impressive, and I like we were talking about before we hit record, man. I think everybody else has got a step that they've got to take, not necessarily speed, but the aggression and the ability to just fight out there, for lack of better words. The intensity, the aggression, just seems like nobody's willing to go into the late half of the moto and really duke it out with Deegan right now.
I think you're completely right. I think the aggression that he's shown weekend in, weekend out, it would be one thing if he was brash and confident and having these interviews and his results were kind of all over the map, like a 1.5, a 2.6. No, he's going 1.1, or if so far so in the summer, the worst has been a 2.2.
Yep.
There's a lot of the guys who are currently still remaining in this championship who haven't even had a day that good. And like I'll just say it, like there's times where the things that come out of his mouth, maybe that's like in poor taste, but okay, in poor taste to me being a 38, 36-year-old old dude.
Right.
Like I'll cop to that. Like I'm an old man yelling at clouds at the best of times. But here's the thing, like you can complain that guys are boring, but then when they open their mouths, you don't get to complain about what comes out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You
And
want to
and
show
for
off
a
their
sport,
personality.
yes, for a sport that's been begging for that
Yeah.
personality. And what so many people mistake often is they think that means a hero. That means the
Mm.
the the Travis Pastranas, the Adam Cincerellos. I don't think we can understate or overstate how important Brian is in this. I want to say confidence and willingness to be who you are. Okay, you take Travis Pastrana, the ultimate golden boy. Brian already knew he didn't fit that mold. So rather than trying to cram himself into a certain picture, he created what became, an empire, the Metal Militia. The
Hmm.
entire kind of Deegan image
Yeah.
is something that, we still to this day call a Deegan image. I would say, your Twitches and your Ronnie Feists and all of those guys, they kind of fit that Deegan style. And
Yeah.
then you
Those are
take
like
Deegan
complementary characters.
Exactly, exactly. And then you had Cowboy Kenny Bartram over here, on this side. You had
Hmm.
it's one of those things where there was this good and evil. And with racing, you don't quite get the charismaticness that you have in the freestyle world of things, but you can kind of get this sense of antagonists and protagonists and more so just big figures. Because I'm not saying that I think Hayden's an enemy or he's a bad guy, but I also think that you have shaping up, this perfect kind of Australian comeback story, came from nothing, was sleeping on pool tables, and now he's taking pictures with dogs and sells donuts. And then you have the kid who did grow up privileged. He's admitted that, and
Yeah.
his dad earned that privilege,
From
who has
means, yeah.
Yep, who backflipped his bike at 8, 9 years old, whatever it was, who has been at, a figure of this sport before puberty hit. And now here he is. He's got the social media following. I was joking earlier. I was saying the two biggest stars in this sport are TikTok stars. They're doing the dances and they're biting the lip on camera, all the cringy, weird stuff that you can't believe that our top athletes are doing. But guess what? Like it or not, that's who's around. And you can't tell me that the guys in the 60s loved everything that Rick Johnson said. You can't tell me that those
Oh
guys loved
yeah.
everything that, McGrath or even Ricky when he first came in. The way things changed, there's a lot of people that didn't like Ricky early in his career, but somehow, some way, late in the career, everybody's a hero. Everybody's loved by everybody. Right now, Hayden's making it clear the industry isn't going to phase him. And I think people sometimes think the fans are the ones that are making Jett not talk as much or making this rider clam up as much. But it's just as much, if not more so, the industry and those older people that are in these positions of power saying, hey, you can't do this, you can't be that. Hayden knows he's got enough power to basically flip everybody the bird and say, look, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And if you don't like it, there's six other people that really don't have a problem with it. Or I've got enough money off my YouTube channel to go buy whatever color bike I want. Like it just goes to show he's not held down by anybody, you
Totally.
know?
He's not even
And
held down
so
by dirt bikes. And to be completely
exactly.
honest,
Exactly.
if he slammed the door on every opportunity that he had in this sport, he and just went on to cars or truck or whatever he wanted to do, he'll be successful at it because he
Oh yeah.
has the support behind it and honestly the marketing savvy that's necessary to make it in this world of yeah, clicks and all that fun stuff. So the kids and on top of all that,
He
nobody's
hauls ass.
faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's faster, nobody's fitter. And from a competitive standpoint, you don't want any of that. Honestly,
Nope.
like that
Nope.
that is the you don't go into the corners with that guy if he was on the ice.
Yep.
You don't come across the middle if he's playing linebacker. Like we're like whatever's like inject that personality into any sport. There's your alpha male. That's the guy who's controlling the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And he's got and now he's got guys like Tom Vial who he's a two-time world champion and a two-time supercross champion, but you can't say that he's not a little bit of a shrinking violet when it comes to the
Yeah.
hard-nosed side of racing. And then now, and let's just get straight into it. He ends up fourth overall in the last weekend out of Idaho. Chance Hymas, like he's dealing with a serious knee injury that is going to see him removed from the series. Like we may not see him until probably 250 East next year.
Yep.
If the knee issue that he's like that a lot of people are suspecting, and obviously it was very sad to see him basically like
Yeah.
kind of coming apart as Jett gets back to the truck there. I think even Jett was a little bit affected by that. You see someone that
Yep.
you train with on a regular basis completely beside themselves, looking at their knee that is yeah, whatever's going on with that. So yeah, like it, I don't see anyone really being able to challenge him consistently. Like even you got a guy like Levi Kitchen has been as
Yep.
inconsistent as possible. Like you almost forget about that second in the first moto.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, getting back to the racing side of things is I don't want to say the damage is done, but when you have such a wide range of inconsistencies, all it takes is that one dude that's relatively consistent, even if he hadn't been going 1 1 1 1 1 1 2 2 1 1, whatever it is, even if those were all twos or all
Or
threes,
ones and threes, yeah.
exactly, you'd have to wonder what that would look like because these guys, I mean, just looking at the results right now, Tom Bial 4-2, Levi Kitchen 2-6, 5-3 for Hymas, Marchbank 7-4. Like these guys are having great rides, but they're just not having amazing rides every time the gate drops, no matter the conditions, no matter the circumstances. It's just, and I'm sorry, money doesn't buy that.
No.
Money, daddy's money, or a star bike alone, nothing does that but the rider themselves. And so yeah, you can say you don't like him, that's fine, but don't lie and say that he's not skilled on a dirt bike because
Yeah.
then I'm just going to laugh at you. And so I mean, I go back to Southwick last year when he was side by side with Kitchen and just flicked that bike sideways. I can't even say he 100% meant to do it. I think he was partially saving it, but like we'd have died four times just trying to do that. He made
I
it look
crashed just thinking about it.
exactly. He made it look absolutely sick. And I mean, yeah, he's got this point to prove, and there is a chip on the shoulder that comes from being the second guy. We talk about
Hmm.
Villapoto to Alessi, Cooper Webb to Cincerello, this kind of point to prove. But you got to think, on the other hand, somebody like him, who I'm sure has heard he's got everything handed to him, he's got daddy's money, he's got everything like this, since he could understand what was being said, got to think there's a chip on those shoulders as well. And it seems like he's showing us exactly what he's capable of and what he's doing. You look at his physique. He's one of the buffer, more fit guys out there. Brian ain't lifting those weights for him.
No,
He's not
that's the
doing the
thing.
time on
Like
the road. Like
you
he's
can't
not,
fake
yeah,
having 30 35 minutes in you. You can't.
exactly. Exactly. And so right now, he doesn't seem like he just wants to win. He wants to demoralize. I mean, he
Yeah.
wants to destroy the competition, and he doesn't rest when the checker flag flies. And that's why I said I love the off track stuff as well, is because it just shows this guy eats, sleeps, and breathes this sport. You got to
Mhm.
wonder. I mean, God, could you imagine if Chad, Ricky, and James had the ability to chirp back and forth back in the day? I mean, like
Oh,
really, you got to
Reedy would have
think.
been slick with it. Honestly,
Woo!
I don't know. I think RC also would have had like I think here one of the reasons I think RC was so reserved is because if he was able
If he
to
popped off, yeah.
I think he would have said mean things and he would have meant
Yes.
them. Like I think he would
Yes.
have been like just like scathing and like a lot yeah, especially with how much winning he was doing. My
Yeah, well,
God.
I got to think. I mean, and you get to that point where it's like you can just respond with the gaps back to second place. Like he doesn't even have to even type a word, just the gaps back to second place. It'll take him a
Yeah.
few weeks to figure out what he's doing, and then they're like, oh. And we kind of saw that in Supercross with Beaumare, right? They kind of had a little back and forth. I
Hmm.
was all about it. Like, hey, man, it's about time. We've seen what he does with Hymus, and Hymus kind of just lets it roll off his back. I'm
Hmm.
sorry, you can't say that doesn't affect you some way, somehow, but at least for a minute, it looked like Juju was ready to duke it out some. And then Saturday comes around, it doesn't happen. And at that point, then you do kind of just look foolish. So he's got everybody kind of backed into a corner where it's like you almost need to dominate him a couple of times. You need to get him a whole season. I mean, like it's now gotten to the point to where it's like he's gonna have to go a whole season with somebody. We've already seen him arguing with Joey Savacci. He's not scared of those 450 guys. He wants all the
Hmm.
smoke with them too. The kid's not going to be scared off by anybody. And
Oh, and
so,
we're gonna
yeah,
find out
it's
in 10 months from now
yeah.
because
Well, and
yeah.
that's what I mean. You got to start to think where his sights are at as far as this is just a means to the outcome of the 450 class, because I do think that's already his goals. I think he knows he could get in there, and I'll say it. I think he could get in the top five. I think he could genuinely push that pace and that intensity right now. He almost reminds me of like very early when Justin Barsham moved up to 450s in the outdoors a couple times, and he was
Hmm.
like literally battling with Villapoto and Dungy, and like there was one, I want to say it was Unadilla. Dungy was like stuck behind him for a lot of the race. Like I think Deegan's that guy where you could inject him into the 450 class, and he's a spoiler. He's pissing people off. He's ruining some guys' days. And so, yeah, I mean, again, I don't want this to just be a Haiden special here for the 250 class, but I don't think that you can ignore what has been dominant. Like you said, Levi Kitchen, man, that second shows that he's got the speed. It shows that he still knows how to get it done, but you back it up with a sixth. I mean, Vial, he's always just kind of been quietly fast. It's just doesn't seem like he's been able to do anything with decent starts or anything like that. Marchbanks has kind of been my standout, but I know we even touched on this before we started recording, the weight and the size and everything like that. Don't get me wrong. I think the pro circuit bikes have gained some power in the last
Oh yeah.
2, 3 years or so. But I mean, there's no replacement for displacement. Like, if you're 185 pounds, as a guy who was a bigger dude,
Yeah, we're
that
speaking
was,
from experience here. We're
yeah,
both two
that was,
thick Snickers over here.
well, but that's what I mean. I was a teenager when I moved on to a 450 class, not because, Mitch Payton was waiting on me, but like at the same time, it was like, dude, getting my doors blown off on the start. Like,
Yeah.
and so it is interesting to see that somebody of that size is having as dominant performances. I can't remember who it was that was making the joke that him and Drew Adams could essentially fist fight the entire 250 field and win, and I believe
Yeah,
that
never mind
the boys.
100 dudes
Yeah,
versus one gorilla. The entire
dude.
field, including those who didn't make it in the Fast 40, against Drew Adams and Garrett
Yeah,
Marchbanks. I take those two.
I did go to the zoo last weekend as well. I don't know, man. Gorillas. pretty gnarly, and those even weren't that big. But another story
Yeah.
for another podcast.
Yeah, totally. That's for a completely separate podcast. Um, One thing that like has rung pretty consistent, aside from like there's been some up and downs in their results, but the speed has been there for every single one of the Pro Circuit Cowies at
Yep.
times. Like there's been times where you look at the screen and they're like nuts to butts right in the middle of the top 10, basically like through third through eighth is just nothing but Pro Circuit Cowies. They are pulling starts, and like I said, at times every single one of those guys has had really, really good results. Levi Kitchen, he hasn't led laps yet, but he's got that second in a moto. He's been up there. He came in there with I believe he was on the podium at Hangtown. Seth Hamaker, third in one moto, still coming back from that shoulder injury. Is that a dislocated shoulder that hasn't been fixed yet? If so, that's an absolute like hero's performance. Ty Masterpool's leading laps at Paula of all places. Drew Adams looks as advertised as long as the bike stays together. It's a bit of a resurgence for the Pro Circuit Cowies. Maybe not at the very front of the pack like we saw back in 2008, but they might be like if we did like a manufacturers championship, they'd be up there.
Yeah, I'd say they got to be number two, maybe tied for number two with Honda right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just and it's good to see the Mitch Payton curse and the Pro Circuit curse and all of this. I think people do ignore how impressive their riders are. I mean, Levi. I won't lie. I thought Levi was going to have a little more fight. I thought he was going to be closer. And
I
what I'm
thought he'd have
hoping
more
is that,
speed, honestly.
yeah,
I thought
yeah,
I'd
I
see him
thought it
pop
would
off and get
be,
like a fastest
yep,
qualifier or yeah, like lead some laps and like
yep.
I
I
want to
mean,
see him
Seth
fight Deegan.
Hamaker, yeah,
Yeah.
Seth Hamaker's kind of been my surprise. Like, I feel like he has all of a sudden like emerged. Like this
Hmm.
Supercross season, something clicked, and now he's gone from 5 to 10 to 1 to 5 on a regular basis. I know he got a seventh at this last round, but clearly something happened with that 14th in Moto 2. But I think he has kind of stood out to me as the guy where it's like you talk about the not that they have a lead rider necessarily on that 250 team, but you got to think. I mean, I want to say it was kind of Levi.
Hmm.
Now I'm saying they got to be at least be paying as much attention to Seth. And then Ty, I do think they maybe are looking for a little more out of Ty, especially outdoors, because we know this
Yeah.
is
They hire
his
him to win
strong suit.
outdoors. That's
Yeah.
it.
And so I mean, there's nothing that can be said that hasn't already been said. They need more. But you look at the guys in front of him. I mean, Thrasher's a bit of an enigma. Like
The
he got
ultimate
ninth.
enigma. And
Yeah, he
then
got
just go
ninth this.
goes steady Eddie 10-10 though.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's just okay, whatever.
So
Random. Casey
Thrasher.
Cochran, he's had some good rides. I think Cochran's been pretty surprising this season. And then, Joe Show and then Hymus obviously is kind of I haven't heard anything official, but got to think he's out for at least a few rounds at best case scenario. So, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's an impressive group when you really look at it. I mean, I honestly I will say I was pretty impressed with Jalik Swole coming back.
I was about to mention, yeah, and
Yep.
like coming back the way he did, having a stronger moto in the second moto, coming off injury, that's nothing to sneeze at. First race of the year for him, and he's the best triumph out there.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think Schwal's always kind of flown under my radar a little bit. I just like it's not that I haven't known that he's got the speed, but it's
He's
just
missed so
I
much
think he's
time, dude.
yeah, yeah. It's one of those guys where he's had the injury bug real bad, and so
Yeah.
now I just 10th place this past weekend, steady Eddie that thing, just kind of keep it. Let's move to an eighth. Let's get some sixth. Start flirting with that top five. Some get some good motos in, and then work on that overall. It just seems like we've got a lot of riders that they've got it for maybe a moto. Di Francesco, 2111. He's got top 10 speed. Michael Moseman, another enigma. I, what do you say about him?
Who is
Like,
more of an
what are you going to
enigma,
get it?
Thrasher or Mosman?
I'm going Thrasher. Dude would like win and then almost not qualify. Like,
Yeah.
I
Those
just,
two, yeah,
I don't know.
like
Yeah.
they both will have days where you're like, oh, you can't take their right away, and then then they have days where it's like get him off the bike.
Yeah.
Like you're like that. It's just so perplexing. Um, all throughout like the back half of the top 20 in the 250 class, you have guys that just like scratch your head at as far as like what they're capable of versus what's happening out there. Like Julian Beaumer, this is the ultimate unraveling, correct? Like
I don't even have an answer. Like, is there
no,
something going on that I'm not aware of? Like, is it just, how does it flip that badly to where,
yeah.
you're going 1540? Like
Well,
it's
he looked like
just,
he was in pain at the he crashed early in the second moto.
oh,
And I
that's right. He
think
was stuck under the bike. That's right.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So and that I think he went back to the truck right before the skies had
Well, and
not yet opened up. They
it
opened up for the 450
also,
class.
it seems like those kinds of situations come from like points of desperation,
Yes.
where it's like things aren't clicking. He wasn't in a spot he needed to be, and then got caught off guard by something and wound up going down. So I mean, like I said, I like Julian. Like I think he's shown that he can,
Hmm.
but it's just, yeah, it's just doing it week in and week out. I mean, you know, I don't want to talk bad on the dude just because how gnarly the stuff that he's gone through is, but you gotta kind of scratch your head on Faulkner a little bit.
Yeah,
I, I
I'm giving
mean,
Faulkner the entire 2025. I am not
yep,
weighing in on anything Austin Faulkner as far as like analyzing what he's capable of on or off the track. Give him a year. Please, for the love of God, stay healthy. And
yep.
then 2026 onward, I will be highly scrutinous. But until then, the jury is out. It's a wait and see for me with him. I want him to just be healthy and get his head right, get his body right, and complete some races. That's all.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I mean, they've had brain surgery, new baby. I mean,
Hmm.
like, yeah,
Still
I
smoking
mean,
hot wife. Like
good on him.
he's
Good
still
on him.
he's still winning. Like he's still
Yeah,
doing
he's
better than either one of us. So,
he's fine. He's fine.
yeah. No, he is an absolute dime at home and a nice little family. So good for Austin Faulkner. Before we move off 250s, talk a little bit of throttle therapy as well as a recent junket that you did for Yamaha. Um, like who on this list is taking a moto from Haiden straight up?
I guess excluding Chance.
I don't think we see Chance until 2026. I'm just being honest. I
I mean, I would say either Kitchen or Vial. I mean, I think Vial on some of those Euro tracks, it seems like all the stars have to align. If he got a good start and was feeling good, and Hayden didn't get a good start or went down early, you
yeah,
know,
rock to the
but
cases.
yeah, but I mean, as far as just, man, if you were to say, hey, this guy starts first, Hayden starts second, 35 minutes of battle royale. Nope.
No,
I don't,
and like
I don't,
the thing
I
is
don't
like you
think
look at
there's
the
a guy out there. Yep.
you look at the points and like Smoking Joe Shimoda is currently in second place.
Yep.
He's coming off two not very good weekends. I don't think Sand and Southwick is exactly like a forte of his. Hymus likely to be out. I like that's not official news, but I think he'll be out. Um, and then like going back to like legitimately, Haiden Deegan could leave. He could leave Southwick with a 75 point lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I mean,
that's not crazy to say at all.
it's what's funny is you can take the one race scenario, but then when you apply the rest of the series, there's nothing to talk about. The
No,
consistency, the
no,
ability on a regular, but no, I don't see it right now. And so, yeah, I mean, I honestly, you got to wonder if he does, let's say, dominate at Southwick and leaves with just a giant points lead. Do we see him back it down at all? I'm saying this fully believing no.
no,
I mean, why would you?
no.
Like,
I think like obviously like the perfect season is out the window.
and
What
you
I
could
think you
see how upset he was with that, which is
oh
interesting
hell
because
yeah.
the only things he did mention was the bike let go in his
Hmm.
interviews. I can't remember which moto it was at High Point. Shame, the perfect season, da 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 da, but the bike broke. And he does kind of just gloss over the fact that he got beat straight up in the second moto.
Yes.
It is what it is. I mean, but you
Here's the
gotta.
thing though, like a guy like Hayden will forever be compared to the other greats, guys like
Oh yeah,
Carmichael, guys like
yeah,
James, who like James in 2004 just kicked everyone's ass every single moto aside from one when he didn't finish the moto. I think that was a bike issue at Budds Creek of all places. Um, like so that's the standard. That's the
yeah,
standard that we've seen before. And if you want to hold them to that same sort of pedestal, then that's the results that are expected.
yeah,
So and there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, and also there's a lot of satisfaction that comes with being able to deliver. And for the most part, he has delivered upon that. So for that to sort of be taken away from him because of a mechanical and then obviously getting beat straight up, tough pill to swallow. But yeah, it's his championship to lose for the remainder of the season, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see him wrap it up two, maybe even three rounds early, and maybe we see him on a 450 before the season's out.
Ooh, wouldn't
That
that be
would
something?
that
Mm.
would be something, especially if you imagine if there's like nothing on the line at Budds Creek, last round of the year. Jett Hardy has already wrapped up the 450 title. Hayden's already wrapped up the 250 title, and like they just go like bare knuckle boxing into the final round. Like let's let's not
Mm.
wait for Paula next year. Let's find out right now.
Yep.
Also, side note, if we do have to wait until Paula, guess who goes really fast at Paula? Both
Yeah.
those guys.
Both of
So
them.
like,
Yep.
like both of them.
Yep.
Yeah, you want chicken or fish? We're going both.
Yep.
Um, let's go straight to let's go off-roading a little bit here. Let's talk throttle therapy. Let's talk about this junket for Yamaha and then touch on a little bit of GNCC before we snap back into the I always like to I try and call it the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross AMA Championship. That sponsorship died out many moons ago.
Been a
Um
while.
yeah, but let's talk throttle therapy, brother. It looks like you put that brand new Alpha One Moose off-road official gear through its paces this last weekend. Put a little bit of time on that number 16 ditch pickle of yours.
Yeah, man, it's been a while. It's kind of like we were saying beforehand. It's the blessing and the curse of working in the industry. You're at the races, but you're not racing and you're not on the bike. And yeah, it's definitely something that I'm still trying to figure out ways I can get on the bike more.
It's tough
But
to balance. It
yes,
really
it
is.
is, man. And it is like I love what I do. I love being around some of the best athletes and amateur athletes in the sport and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think 99% of us we love how we feel on a bike, and so it's been a goal of mine for this year is to try to ride more often. Um, no secret, I've been closely involved with moose racing for almost my entire life. My dad's a Parts Unlimited rep in Central North Carolina, and so not to mention GNCC, that's the gear. Like there's no other way to put it. If you're a top dude, you're usually in Moose. And so yeah, they were actually doing some product shooting out at I want to say it was either Mason. Yeah, I believe it was our Mason Dixon GNCC, which Parts Unlimited is the title sponsor for. And caught up with Kevin Kelly from Moose Racing and a couple of the guys, and
Nice.
they had hooked me up with some Agroid gear last year. One of their newer lines released, and he was like, "Hey man, you about ready for some new gear?" And it just so happened that I was. And so, man, this Alpha One stuff, even talking to the riders off mic and away from cameras and everything like that, they'll tell you straight up. I mean, you know as well as I do. You talk to pro riders, they're more than happy to tell you when something's not working right. And
Absolutely.
man, it's designed with the off-road guys in mind, which is cool. Moose kind of re-released their Moose off-road division, specifically geared more towards the GNCC crowd, and little things, in their Agroid and Alpha One, the pre-made slits for the tubes, so you're not
Yeah.
cutting your jerseys every time. Like little details like that, they go above and beyond. And it was pretty damn hot this weekend. I was debating breaking out the hydration tube. We didn't, but if I'd have started cramping, I had an option there. And even on my post that I put out there, I've always been a Sahara guy in the summer. Nothing is as vented as Moose Sahara. Coolest gear. And Alpha One is very similarly made as far as the amount of ventilation that I felt. I liked how stretchy it was. Like it wasn't like form fitting because I don't like super, super tight gear,
Nah,
but
neither of
had
us
some,
have the build for
yeah,
that.
Right. It had some stretch to it to where it gave a little bit. You were able to wear it and kind of move in it without feeling restricted. I wear an under protector, like an under the jersey chest protector. Didn't have any issues with that. Actually was trying out a Moose. It's like a protection vest that you put on. I wish I had the official name of it, but I actually really like that as well. Was using that. And it just goes to show. I mean, we talk about them all the time at GNCC, the amount of stuff that they offer. Obviously, you see the gear. That's kind of the first thing that people go to. But I mean, like I said, they make protection, they make chemicals. I mean, I put on my post on Instagram, was using some Moose Ultra Clean cleanup afterwards. The stuff works great. I put it on the bike and then I put a little bit in my laundry as well. Keeps the gear looking fresh. They've got chemicals from contact cleaner to chain lube. I mean, I think it blows people's minds. And actually, I haven't put anything out there about it yet, but they sent me some mountain bike apparel as well. So they've got the Moose Agroid mountain bike shorts for when I'm really feeling like going slow. I put those on and got to break those out earlier in the week. And yeah, it's always good quality stuff. And that's what's cool about it. I know you're close with the Moose guys as well. And it's
Yeah.
like, you've tried a lot of brands. I've pretty much been Moose Store my whole life, but even seeing some of the other brands at the ends of these races and stuff like that, when certain guys have their whole butts hanging out because the gear didn't hold up and certain guys don't, you start to notice these kinds of things. So I'm very grateful for Moose taking care of me, and making sure that I have the ability to kind of let people know about their stuff. And yeah, like I said, it was fun. I did auger myself into the ground one good time just to make sure that it wouldn't rip. It didn't. Still looks
Yeah.
fresh.
Product
It
testing.
was that was like red clay at its finest too. Went in the wash, came out. Didn't even put any ultra clean in the load. Came out looking brand new. So I'm a big fan of that color too. I was curious to see what it looked like on a Cowie because I've seen it. The Phoenix Honda boys wear it on the Hondas, obviously. Grant Davis and the KTM's, the orange guys. It looks good and it looks badass on a Yamaha. I feel like
Hmm.
so.
Very
I thought it looked well.
complimentary.
It wasn't like Christmas colory on the Cowie. So I'm all about it, man. It was a ton of fun and getting to ride as well. It was Father's Day weekend. My dad ended up not riding just due to the track conditions. It was pretty wet and thick. So yeah, that was a bummer. But man, it's just cool to be back out at the track. You have some good times. The heart rate was way higher than I was hoping it would be, but nothing else we've got. Like I said, 3-year plan for plus 30 BC. We're working on our base. So it's been good, man. That was a lot of fun. And then actually jumped back a week from that. Um, Johnny Gallagher, who was a longtime pro ATV racer and is now kind of our Blue Crew and Yamaha ambassador at GNCC. He also jumps in the Racer TV booth with us a lot. I reached out to him and said, "Hey, man, I'm really interested in these Blue Crew Invitationals and what they're all about, and would love to see whether or not Yamaha would be interested in having somebody come out and kind of more consistently be a part of it." So he connected me with Jennifer Davey there at Yamaha, and we kind of spitballed around the idea. And the only date that I had open this year was out at Oak Hill, Texas, which was a brand new location for me, but a track I was familiar with. And man, it's like we said, I ride a Kawasaki. My dad's a Honda guy. I've had a PW50 and I had a YZ125. So it's not like I'm committed to Yamaha in any way. But man, that was such a cool event. Not because the racing was amazing, not because the track was amazing, all of which are true, but the purpose of the event itself was just to give back and just an appreciation and kind of like a family thing, man. Like they call it the Blue Crew, and it really was this opportunity for riders. Tate Brush was down there, Tace Morgan, Colby Lesser, Kane Bolasina, and then you had some local Texas kids. You had a kid who finished on the podium in one class, said it was his first race in 6 months. It was this cool thing because you have these top level athletes. You have Ryan Villapoto, Damon Bradshaw, Doug Dubach as the ambassadors out there, and they go out. They show up on Friday. They go out on the track that they're going to race. They break up into groups, big bikes, 85, 65s, and 50s. They work on starts. They work on bike technique. They work on cornering. They work on, line development and figuring out what lines to take, not only this lap, but 5 laps from now. Then you go back, everybody hangs out. We have a dinner, family dinner. We're playing cornhole. We're, listening to music, everything like that. Then the next day, okay, now it's race day, but there's not industry pressure. We're all under, it's easy for me. Oh, out front on oh yeah, it's a Yamaha. A lot of blue. Saw a little bit of purple, some retro designs out there as well. But
Perhaps some
it's cool.
yellow.
Nobody had the
No
yellow.
one does yellow
No,
Yamahas
no, but they
anymore.
did have a, I believe it's the Yamaha T7. It's like their dual sport off-road like adventure
Uh-huh.
bike. It was done in the retro yellow and black. It looked good. I'll send you a video I took of it. Villapoto was
Mm.
drooling all over it. But it was cool because you had everybody went out on track walk in the morning with Villapoto, Bradshaw,
Mm.
Dubach. We talk about it all the time. The line selection that these guys pick, the every square inch of the track that they use, those are the things that we're not going to pick up on until we see somebody else say, "Hey, look at this line. Look at how
Hmm.
great this looks." And you're like, "Oh, I forgot there was still a whole three-quarters of the track over here." And so the riders had the opportunity to walk around with these guys, look at the track beforehand. They go out for practice. It gets time for racing, and you could see Villapoto, Bradshaw. They were up in the tower with us watching. They knew, hey, Schoolboy One, Kane Bollicina, and Colby Lesser, they're getting ready to go at it. We want to be in the tower to watch. Watching those guys even get into the battle and they're moving around. It shows that the ambassadors aren't there because they have to be. They're there because they want to be. And
Yeah.
that was what was really cool was I did get to see them when the cameras turned off and the microphones went off, and they're like, man, those are some good questions. They were happy to help, and it is cool because you have racing, and then Saturday night, that's kind of the true Blue Crew family dinner. They have this huge catered dinner come out, great food for everybody. We have some music, we're all hanging out, and then we have the ambassador Q&A session. So everybody's eating, and you get to pick the brains of some of the best to ever throw their leg over a motorcycle. And what's cool is, yeah, we had people ask about Villapoto looping out in MXGPs. We had people asking Bradshaw about, Supercross in the 90s and asking about the parties afterwards and asking Dubach the fun questions. But then you also had some kids ask, hey, if I could focus on one thing, what do you think would be the most important? I really like that the parents had an opportunity. Ryan Villapoto, he's full mini dad now. Bradshaw had a child that raced. Dubach has a son that raced and even made it to a pro level, and it's cool because they can give advice to the kids that are looking to their heroes, and then to the parents that are looking at heroes in the sense of, Villapoto really, I was impressed. We were talking about the difference of Villapoto as a pro versus now. A lot of his answers was like, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I'd had a very different answer. But the perspective that he has now of knowing how little time you have on Earth, he lost his father, who he had a complex relationship with, and here's some of the things that my dad did that I didn't like. Here's some of the ways, or here's some of the things that he did like. Here's the way I take these aspects and bring them to my son. And very similar to Tyler and Ryan. Tyler is Ryan Villapota's brother. My kids don't react the same to things. So this kid I can get onto a little more. This kid I can't. And so it was really cool to watch them break things down and just take all the time in the world for those families. And we're mixing raffles in between. We gave away, I mean, probably close to $1,000 worth of Blue Crew stuff. We had big OGO 9800s Blue Crew edition being given away. Both winners were little kids that we zipped up in the OGOs, made the dad's foot race back, dragging the kids. Like it's just a fun event, man. And I mean, yes, I get to go to Loretta Lynn's. I get to do the GNCCs. I get to do these high pressure, high stakes situations where I get to see the future of the sport and these top athletes do their thing. But is it always the most fun? Is it sometimes a little stressful, sometimes a little too serious? Absolutely. You go to the Blue Crew Invitational, man, and it was just how fun is this? We're doing Blue Crew jersey presses. We're giving koozies away, stickers. They had Blue Crew tattoos. I had kids with like 6 Blue Crew face
Every kid
tattoos
loves
going out.
stickers, including old ones
Exactly.
like me.
Exactly. Oh, best believe I brought some home, man. I was rocking some ink by the end of the weekend, and the folks there working as well, whether it's Jennifer, whether it's Mike Ulrich, whether it was Ashley, I believe Vittery or Vickery is his last name, but he was there working, but also racing in the industry class, and even got to talk to him on the podium. And he's like, dude, how is this not an incredible job? Like I get to work for an industry that I love in a sport that I love, and I get to participate out on track as well. Like it just shows the way that those guys treat your top athletes, your Villapotos, your Bradshaws, your next generation of top athletes, your Lessers, your Bolicinas, your Morgans. And then, hey, there's little Johnny Sprocket. It's his first ever race. Hey, home, little dude there on the 65. You got Tate Brush who dominated, who was doing very well. And then you have some riders that are just learning to get on 65. One of the cool new things that Yamaha introduced this year as well is their new rider program for people that have never gotten on a dirt bike. And it was funny because I grew up, my father rode, you were kind of introduced into this sport as well. We take so
Yeah,
much for granted, and it's one of those things you don't think about thinking about it. But talking to Dave and the entire crew down there, they had a whole separate track section for it. They had demo rides, they had bikes set up, and
that's
they're like, "Hey,
rad.
we're gonna teach you how to start, how to pull off, how to pull, pull to a stop. Here's the controls." But then they take it a step further and they say, "Hey, here's how to properly load and unload your machine. Here's how to do basic maintenance. Here's how to do these little things," where I'm like, dude, I don't think anybody ever taught me how to load a dirt bike up properly. But how many times have at least I've seen a bike tipped over sideways in the bed of a truck going down the road? Or hey, maybe don't ride it into the bed of your truck the first time if you like your back windshield glass. Like, but little
I've
things
never
where it's
attempted that. I'm
no,
such a chicken shit when it
yep,
comes to that stuff.
I'm no
No
chance I'm doing
interest.
that. Yep.
No.
But all in all, it was such a cool experience, man. They welcomed me in with open arms. I'm just an announcer that likes to talk, and man, they gave me plenty to talk about from Oak Hill, which holy crap, that's a badass track.
Isn't it
Oh
also
my God.
like great vantage point from the announcing tower? You
Oh,
can
dude,
see
you
every
had
inch,
everything.
dude.
You had everything. And they have like the upper deck on top of the actual like room that I'm in.
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
that
yeah.
Schoolboy One moto, I'm on the roof. I'm running all over the place. But absolutely such a cool track. And then just the way they treated everybody, man. Every family, every rider, every, little kid on a PW50 all the way up to, the vet 50 class on 450s out there. It was just it was cool to see. And so, like I said, I currently ride a Cowie, man. I've had great experiences on Yamahas, and from a perspective of just like, man, these guys do it for the right reason. Nothing but good things to say about Yamaha and the Blue Crew. So they got one more Blue Crew Invitational for this year. It's in November out in Alabama. So any of you Southerners or Northerners, I mean, we have people driving from all over the place to come hang out in Texas. If you got a Yamaha or can get your hands on one, that was another thing. We had a lot of riders renting Blue Crews for the weekend so they could come race. Go check it out because I can't stress enough how cool of an event it was, how much fun you're going to have, and get some quality gate drops, but also enjoy your time out there as well. So, yeah, it was great, man. And speaking of that, it's a great segue. This weekend is the Yamaha Snowshoe GNCC,
I
baby.
was about to
This
ask you
is,
about snowshoe because I
yep.
saw Stu Baylor's post.
Oh, yeah.
He's his tail is wagging. It's the best event of the year as far as the GNCC
I'll say it.
catalog.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. I mean, as I
Catalog's
think
concerned. Yeah,
Iron Man is up there,
of
which
course.
ironically also is a Yamaha titled sponsor event now that I'm thinking about it. But
Hmm.
dude, snowshoes like a party and a race broke out. Man, it's like I found out that they actually this Howard's Hole, which is the infamous mud hole here at Snowshoe, it's like there is no leaving it to chance. They make sure that thing is muddy. So they have diverted the water into Howard's Hole leading up to this event, bring in some runoff, bring in some moving the rocks around a little bit, stuff like that. And then right before they cut it off so that we're not getting flooded out while we're racing it. But it is insane, man. I mean, thousands of people down at this mud hole. We're gonna try. I've been working with my producer Adam to figure out some way to almost do a Sports Center broadcast from Howard's Hole. What I will see and or hear, anything is possible. I've seen. I thought I saw someone die there 2 years ago. Last year I saw a kid asleep inside a log. He was fine, but he was just taking a nap.
Yeah.
There were
Who hasn't
fireworks
seen the
lit off.
movie Fern Gully? Come on.
Dude, I mean, anything is possible down there. And then we're rocking out Friday and Saturday night. Yours truly, live entertainment
I
all
was gonna
day.
say,
Yeah, dude, we're
yeah,
back.
singing some originals.
Yeah, we're
Are
singing
you
a little
already
bit of
taking
everything.
requests?
Yeah, but it's a $20 Venmo, okay, for your request. And if I get three people that request the same song, I might learn it for you. So
Perfect.
I'm not gonna learn it for you. But
It's just
it's
gonna be Rockstar by
Nickelback on repeat.
Nickelback. Yeah,
Yep.
it's fine.
Yep. Yep. Pretty
Open
much.
and
Oh,
close with
well,
it.
all they want me to play up there is Country Roads. And I'm not going to be the one to tell them that that song's not even written about West Virginia. So that's my one do not request it song. So that and
West
Sweet Caroline. Oh, my
Virginia,
goodness. Yeah.
Mountain Mama. Oh, it's
Yep.
so good.
Yeah,
Uh,
but no, man, it's going to be a great time. I mean, that taking a step back from snowshoe and just the GNCC series as a whole this
yeah.
year, the four wheel sides of things have been a little less exciting. Bryson
Mm,
Neal has just been kicking everyone's ass. There's no other way to put it. I mean, Walker Fowler, 9-time champ, the winningest racer in GNCC history. He's even said it, man. He's like, this is, I feel what Chris Borich felt when I became the guy in the sport.
mm,
Bryson has found an extra gear right now. It's not Walker saying I can't do it. I'm walking away from it. I think Walker's really been working on finding the love for the sport again. But man, Bryson has been impressive to say the least. You jump over to the two wheel sides of things, though, man. We're looking at history in the making. Never before this late in the season have we had an XC2 rider leading the
oh, and it's
overall
not
points.
close.
No, and he's working his way through the entire XC1 pack, man. I mean, it is. I was at the banquet last year. Grant Davis was there. He was
Do you
enjoying
remember
himself.
being there though?
Oh, I do. I actually remember this part quite vividly because I was still working, so I hadn't
Okay.
even got to have a lot of fun yet. But
Mm,
they were talking about it. Hey man, this is great. We got XC2 championship. We want the overall one next year. I'm like, oh, are you not defending? Like, are you jumping up to XC1? No, no, we're getting it from XC2. We're getting it from row two. And it was just like this like sicko smile of this like he actually believes that's possible. Okay, whatever. We'll see. Well, then we have all this craziness go on with the XC2 class. I mean, that's been the story of 2025 is the XC2 class. Physically beating them, Nick DeFeo, Josh Toth, Cody Barnes, Grant Davis, and Gus Reardon. Those six essentially have been the guys to beat. And I don't just mean in class, I mean in the entire field. Not that, Ben Kelly, who is second, I believe second in the overall points, maybe fourth, honestly, because those top XC2 guys are so close. But he's been your top XC1 guy. He's left scratching his head a little bit. The
mm.
KTM crews moved to Club MX now with Ranch Russell shutting down. So Cole Martinez has taken these guys, and that's been another really cool thing to see is Club MX branch into the off-road world and almost immediately jump to the top step. It's just, man, it's been fun to watch, and I don't think it's going to stop. I will say it. I think Grant Davis has a chance to get it done if he can get to the finish in a decent spot at every round.
Yeah. And honestly, in the XC1 class, it's basically been the Ben Kelly show with everybody else being as inconsistently as humanly possible, including Caleb Russell, whose best finish was round two. He got a second, hasn't sniffed a podium since.
Yeah, Caleb's return, I think, has been, one that's maybe left him scratching his head a little bit. I don't know Caleb from before. I've only heard, the rumors and the stories of who he was and the way he
Hmm.
was. Um, and not saying it's good or bad, but I'm fine with not knowing that guy because, man, I love this athlete that we have now that is just so honest with not only himself but with all of us as well. It's cool because Troy Adamitis, who does basically all of our favorite movies ever,
We're
from The
not
Great
going to
Outdoors.
Troy.
Yeah, exactly. Not postponed, canceled, baby. But that he did an interview with Caleb coming back to off road leading to this season, and I feel like he really does a good job of helping the riders tap into their emotional side, whether they realize it or not. And Caleb said, his mantra essentially was you gotta win to eat. And I'll say it, if that's the case, Caleb Russell's very hungry right now. And
Mm,
so he had some interesting, I don't know if you follow him on social media, but he had kind
I
of
do.
this moment where he ended up retiring from a race early. And we were told one thing, we're always told kind of one thing, and how true it is varies. That's not just Caleb or anything like that. That's everybody.
Right.
But man, he came out on social media and said essentially that he quit on himself and that he's better than that. And I mean, just the accountability that he was taking was almost too much. It was almost more than he needed to really, but it just shows the way he holds himself and the way he, I interview his son Crew quite regularly on the youth podiums and what he's trying to instill in his children and his fans and stuff like that. Man, I mean, that to me was just as impressive of a performance as the racing was the ability to be that open and raw with your fans and, forget the criticisms. And when he's on the podium, he's the first one talking himself through what happened, breaking things down and giving credit where credit's due because he played the mentor role for a lot of these guys. Grant Davis was one of the guys that lived and trained there with Caleb and
Yeah.
it's
He's a
they all
product
call
of
him
that system.
yeah, they all call him Playboy, man. And he's always, hey man, I got to give props to Playboy though. He went around me like I was standing still. And it's cool to see. It's cool to see these guys, I think, having to find some new respect for the XC2 kids, if you will. It's cool to see, the likes of a Gus Reardon, who is right off of Grant Davis, your Cody Barnes, those guys kind of starting to see themselves as overall threats. They don't look at the big bad XC1 class anymore. It's hey, these are the guys that I've got to get around to keep up with the XC2 guys because now it's like they're saying if I want an XC2 win, oh, that means I've got to get an overall win. No big deal. So
Yeah.
the level of the sport right now is just I kind of feel like in newfound territory where the the workings of the professional guys up here at XC1 have started to seep through to your XC2s. Your JoJo Cunninghams and Caleb Woods there in the 250As, the four-stroke A lights, Gavin Simon. These are guys that are amateurs that we're seeing up inside the top 20 overall multiple times throughout the season as well. So I think you're just seeing this newfound development as far as for off-road riders where they're training more, they're training earlier in their careers. You're seeing companies start to step in a bit more, whether it's, Hunter Carey, who's rides for the Ampro Yamaha team. He's, on the Super Mini to Colt McQuarrie, the 125 riders. You're
Hmm.
seeing things start sooner and sooner, very similar to how we saw with motocross, where you're having Adam Cincerello sign at 13 to Pro Circuit Kawasaki. You're having Ryder D's and Austin Forkners, these kids getting signed so early. So it's cool to see, man. It's a unique time. I mean, Mikey Waynes has been there, I believe, 7 or 8 years now, and he's even kind of like, dude, it's fun because it's new, it's different,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's cool for sure, man. And the added excitement of snowshoe and starting on the road. So if people don't know, it's a different setup at snowshoe. They start on the actual street, and rather than in lines by your class, it's based off of overall points. So Grant Davis actually will have the first starting position for snowshoe. He's on the front row. There is no time adjustment. So rolling start, green flag, it's game on, boys. So going to see a little different dynamic this coming weekend. And yeah, then afterwards we're going to party it up in the town afterwards, and yeah, have us a hell of a weekend out at Snowshoe.
Listen to this. That's gonna be a lot of fun, man. Last question I have for you on the GNCC side of things is what does Cody Barnes need to do to get a win? Because hasn't had a single round outside the top five, plenty of seconds, couple of thirds mixed in there as well. Um, like what needs to happen for him to kind of like take that leap, so to speak?
Man, it is a tough question because first of all, you can't mention Cody Barnes without mentioning Gus Reardon. The
Okay.
two have been Velcroed together all season long, and Gus and Grant Davis were kind of the standouts last season. And we had our little fan fest thing coming into the season this year, and I said to Cody, a lot of people talking about Grant and Gus, a lot of people talking about Josh Toth back in XC2 on Stu's team, the new kid Nick DeFeo jumping up, not a lot of talk about Cody Barnes, and he kind of got this smile on his face because I'm like, does that tick you off a little bit? Like you've been on the podium multiple times, you kind of fly this under the radar type personality, but you're not. You're there regularly, and I think this season what he has done is he's put his name out there. He's on the table. He's in the discussion now regularly. I don't know, man. I hate to say that almost the entire 3 hour long race comes down to the first 20 minutes, but Grant Davis's ability to sprint because those guys essentially catch up, roughly a minute to XC1,
Hmm.
and then they start to pick their way through the field. And once they catch up to the back of the XC1 group, they already know that they're technically in the lead on adjusted time. It's so crazy the advantage or the ability that I guess it gives those second row riders seeing where the XC1 Pro guys are going. And so Grant just has, I don't know if it's brains, I don't know if it's kahunas, I don't know what it is, but man, when that green flag flies, I mean, a rabid dog out there.
Hmm.
He's just taking every chance, pan swapping. I mean, it's James Stewart 125 type stuff where he's just the throttle never cracks. And then he
So
gets to the
glorious.
XC1 field, and now what he has started to say is that these XC1 guys don't like the XC2 kids coming through, so they're racing him hard. He's getting physical with them. He's moving XC1 guys out of the way. I don't care if we're 15 minutes into a 3 hour long race. Get out of my way. And what I don't think is that Gus and Cody are matching that aggression quite as much. I think they're getting caught up, A, in battling with one another, and then B, they're not quite as just aggressive, degaff, whatever you want to say, moving these XC1 guys out of the way so that they can stay in tow with Grant Davis. So to me, that's the secret because I genuinely think Grant Davis, Gus Reardon, Cody Barnes, and I'll still say Josh Toth. I think any one of those guys could get a win on any given weekend, but they let Grant get out front, and even if he doesn't get the whole shot, he is so aggressive in those opening 15 to 20 minutes leading into the XC1 field. By the time we come back from the starts, we do our commercial, we come back, we do start recaps, we welcome everybody in. By the time we get them in the next camera shot, almost every time this season, Grant Davis has either been in the XC1 group or caught up to them. And that's the race right there.
Yeah.
That's the race. So that's my thing is those guys have got to find a way to stay with and stay in front of Grant Davis in the first 20 minutes of the race. And then, they're just gonna have to match that pace because I've seen Grant after some of these rides, man, the kid, he gives it all. There is no lack of effort. There is, hey, we're delaying this interview. Give me a few more seconds. I mean, eyes are rolling in the back of his head. It is mind blowing what these guys are doing on a physical level. I've seen the heart rate data. It doesn't make sense. Like whole new respect for what these guys are doing for 3 hours out there. But yeah, if you want to stand on the top step, it's just like Josh Toth was saying. If I want to win the XC2 class now, I have to beat the entire field. That's just what it's going to take. So no small task, but I know they're up to it.
Absolutely. And we just keep our eyes on that series as it progresses. Of course, it always takes a nice big break in the middle of the season because a lot of the people who work at that series also work at Pro Motocross and also work at Loretta Lynn's. It's an around the clock, around the calendar thing for all hands on deck with all three of those highly entertaining events. Let's snap back into the Monster Energy Pro Motocross AMA Nationals. Let's go 450 racing in a championship that's closer, but it also at the same time doesn't feel that way. Jett Lawrence currently enjoys about a 28 point lead over Eli Tomac. Tomac's got two moto wins now. But he's getting those wins almost when he gets those wins, it's almost like those are motos where it seemed like Jett like he settled for a third or he settled for a fifth in those motos and still was able to take the overall. Like he's only lost one overall in his entire career on a 450, and it was one where he ended up DNFing the second moto. That was at Hangtown. Um, it just things keep rolling for the kid out of Australia. He's coming off the knee injury. Like I said, 28 point lead. Everybody else is like your top five is all right there, but they also like those guys are trading paint every single weekend. So like Jett is doing the 1-1 or the 1-3 thing, and the rest of those top five guys are just taking points away from each other. Um, yeah, it's as lopsided, if not more so, than the 250 class. And but we've had good racing, and it's impressive to watch what the Lawrence brothers have been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of like what you were saying, it is almost the same story, different chapter as far as these 450s go. With Jett right now, Jett, I think, has matured since he's turned pro, and I think these
Mhm.
thirds and stuff like this that you're seeing, where it is in a lot of ways, it does seem like Jett is mitigating his effort or mitigating his risk, right? I think he has become a lot smarter of a rider that whether it's the chip has gone away, the point's been proven, whatever it is. I think he knows like, hey man, I don't have to do all this sketchy crap. Like as long as I'm where I want to be, and it's not like he's settling for a second overall. Like he's still, you know, he's still
Yeah,
making
still
sure
not
that he's
giving up
winning.
points.
Yeah, yeah, he's still making sure that he's winning, but he's doing it in a much more methodical way that I think is not only going to help him be around the sport longer, but I think it's I think it's just a safer approach. You look at like you were saying. I mean, Hunter right there in second, 2-2, about as even as you could get. I mean, I still think that's got to suck. Like again, I'm a fan of Hunter. I think
Hmm.
I actually may like Hunter off track more. Like I think he's a bit wittier and funnier. But
Yeah, I relate to
I
Hunter a little bit better.
yeah, exactly. I see a little bit more of myself in Hunter. Jett, I enjoy the kid stuff, like him doing the mouth and the leaf blower thing. I was
Hmm.
cracking up at that because I always did that as a kid.
Yeah,
But
he's a
it just
cartoon.
that's what I mean. He's just a kid, but throw that helmet on and he's a savage. And so I mean, Eli is I think what we're used to seeing. He's really good. He's really fit. He's really fast, but you get a fifth in Moto 1. You get these little things where themselves they're not terrible results, and a lot of times in back in the day would have
Hmm.
been fine. But with the consistency and just the razor sharpness of these Lawrence boys right now, you can't afford that. And so, yeah, it just kind of like what you were saying. I mean, Aaron Plessinger, he's been one of my standouts this
Yep.
450 season.
Oh,
I mean, I
people love the
think,
cowboy.
well, aside from that, obviously I love the Cowboy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But on the
No, the
bike,
starts have been there.
dude, the
He
starts have been there.
passed Jet straight up. I think that surprised
Straight
the
up.
hell out of
Yep.
Jet, to be honest.
Yep. And I mean, I think the confidence is coming there with it as well. He's always, his interviews are great, but they're very similar. It's appreciative, it's thankful, it's
Hmm.
grateful to be here. And I think that's a great point to take. That's a great stance to be your thing. But at the same time, you can see that what was I'm just stoked to be up here is we were so close. I'm grateful to be
Hmm.
up here. I'm glad. But God, we were so close. And so I'd love to see it. I'd love to see AP be a consistent threat on a more regular basis and be fighting for wins later in those motos. Main thing, I just want him healthy because I'm a fan of him. I think the sport's better with him in it. Um, Justin Cooper, he's one of those guys almost a little bit more flip flop to me, where it's like I like him a lot on the track. I don't really love off track. You're not going to get a lot out of him, I
He's
feel
kind
like.
of grumpy
But
cat. Yeah.
yeah, he just doesn't really have a lot to say. And I think, but I think on the track, he's been good, but I don't think it's been good enough. I mean, I think the inconsistencies have just been too much. I mean, what do you go 4-5? Like those aren't bad results, but they're not enough. They're just not going to cut it. And so, man, Joey Savacci's sixth overall. I didn't realize that. That's a solid run for him.
Yeah. 8-6 for
Um,
Joey.
yep. RJ has been impressing me because we know he's coming off
Yeah.
of that injury still.
I'm
I
impressed with
know.
Jason Anderson going 7-7. Like coming off
Yep.
of the Supercross season that he had and being away and personal issues. Like I color me like I did not think he would be the top Kawasaki
No. No.
this year.
Yeah, I
We're
looked
gonna
that
talk
up
about
on.
the other Kawasaki shortly.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
I looked that one up on FanDuel, and the odds that JA was the top dog were I should have placed that bet, but
yeah, no.
yeah, it just goes to show. I mean, even Cooper. I mean, solid top 10 finishes. I
Yeah.
don't, I didn't expect Coop to blow us out of the water, but I mean, I think those are solid results, especially knowing that, I mean, he'll tell you straight up he was focused on Supercross and clearly it worked out for him. So, I mean, it's solid, man. I mean, again, like you were saying, I feel like if you cut Jett and you cut Haiden out of the picture,
Oh, these are insane championships.
I mean, this is legendary type stuff here. But right now, you've just got guys that are almost as close to perfect as you can be in this sport. And when you're dealing with that, like you said, oh, Eli gets second the next round. Oh, well, Aaron goes and gets second the round after that. Oh, well, they're just keep subtracting points from one another.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, up at the top, just cha-ching, cha-ching, just popping them off. So
There's a
yeah,
bigger gap from Lawrence to Tomac than there is from Tomac to Cooper, to Justin
yep,
Cooper in fifth. It's only 14 points separates them. Actually, the gap is double, twice as big from first to second than it is from second to fifth. and it's a clear watermark after that.
Yeah.
It's another 50 points back um, to RJ Hampshire. There's sort of a line drawn in the sand there. But yeah, RJ Hampshire, wrist, no wrist, whatever, top like sixth in points. Really encouraged by that. Cooper Webb seventh in the championships based on his preparation for this championship. That's exactly where I would slot him in for this. I'm impressed with Anderson. I'm impressed with Savachi. And at the tail end of the top 10, you have Jorge Prado, who is over 100 points down, and we haven't seen a single good lap out of the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's kind of the dead horse right now that everybody's
And
kind of
that,
beating
dude,
on,
that
but
speaks everything to the expectation of where this is. This has says more
dude,
about what we
yes.
expect from Jorge Prado than what he's doing. I expect him to be in the mix for podiums every single weekend. He's not, and that's not what's happening. And I don't, and I won't, I can't understand to this extent as to why.
Well, and to me, on top of it, I don't know whether it's the language barrier or whatever, because I mean, to my understanding, the dude speaks English pretty well, but
He
like
does.
we kind of get these vague answers, and it's just like, I don't know. I can't stand when companies or teams or riders, when it's clearly a disaster and you're just, oh, everything's great. What do you mean? Everything, oh yeah, we went 12-23 this weekend. What do you mean?
Yeah.
This was great.
The
Like
more
it
vague they are, the worse it's going.
exactly, exactly. I'm like, and and I mean, I've even told, people this at GNCC or at Loretta and stuff like that. Like, dude, if you need to tell me off the record, tell me. And I'm not going to rat you out. I'm not going to, ruin anything for anybody here. But
Hmm.
like, don't lie to me here. Like clearly there's something wrong. And I mean, like we've talked about before, those guys are so minute with the things that they feel on the bike. I mean, I'm terrible. You take the shock off the bike, I wouldn't notice. But
Yeah.
it's it's one of those things where how is it that bad? And you've had all this time to prepare.
Hmm.
You've had all of this stuff that you're working with, and I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, there
The
was just no indicators leading into the season that they were struggling, that they had, plans for issues, and then to just go and the problem is he is consistently bad
yeah.
for what we expected of Jorge Prado. And again, the MXGP thing, it'd be one thing if he was backside of the top 10 in MXGP. He's not. He was the dude. He was the man over there. And I'll be honest, I think we've seen, whether it be Rattray, Langston, Roxon, any of these guys come over, and we've seen them do way better than this. So it's like
Oh yeah.
at some point, the whole switching
Ladies
over
and
to
gentlemen,
MXGP,
Valentin Guillaume,
yeah, like it's,
Benoit
I don't know.
Paturel, like they have the exact
Yeah.
same disadvantage, and they are also not on factory motorcycles.
Yep.
And oh, by the
Uh,
way, Jason Anderson is not known to be like a world beater outdoors, and he's got almost a 20-point lead on you after 4 rounds of this series. This is going as bad as humanly possible. Um, Based off of the expectations that, and rightfully so, because he's a
yes.
multi-time world champion in both classes over in Europe. I've seen it with my own eyes with him racing at Matterley Basin uh, less than 10 months ago. This guy has the skills to pay
Yep.
these bills, but lately it just it's not even a shell. It's not like there's not a hint of what he's been sort of billed for and what he's getting paid for and honestly what he's capable of. And um this has got to be very demoralizing for him.
Yeah.
I think the reason why he's so vague and so like sort of like can't explain what's going on is that he's never experienced anything like this in his
Right.
entire life.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that because I think it's such new territory for him. Like, you got to think, like we always joke about the panic button and stuff like that, but like
Hmm.
there is something horrifying about like knowing something needs to be fixed and not knowing what it is
Yeah.
or how
And the
how to
shoulder
fix it.
injury could be part of it as well. We're coming
Oh,
he
absolutely. Yeah.
did he not dislocate his shoulder at like, and I've proud owner of two brutal shoulders. If he got that thing fixed, if he got a surgical procedure on that shoulder, he's still in the window of recovery. Yes, he's probably on like the latter portion of it, and he's
Yeah.
got doctors and physiotherapists and athletic therapists at his disposal to get him there. But the shoulder is the most capable and unstable joint in the human body. That's got to play a factor into this as well.
Yeah, but wouldn't you think a built-in excuse like that would be the first thing they're throwing at everybody? I
You'd
mean,
think
it's,
so, yes.
it's one of those deals where it's like, that's a give me. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you screwed your shoulder up. Like, if you are still in this window, then use the window. Say you're in the window. But like, instead, it's, my bike isn't powerful enough, which I don't, it's just these random things that are almost like just, I'm saying something just to say it.
Hmm.
I agree. I'm just like, man, the the expectation and the other side of it is like Jorge does not want to be in this position.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he's just like not trying or like, but there is clearly something off. Is it fitness? Is it adjusting to the heat? Is it just straight up comfort on the bike? Like I don't understand. And I mean Cowie's PR is known for being just top notch. So,
Hmm.
I'm sure we'll get the scoop at some point, but like I just don't know. I mean, there's been a couple of things that he's already started to change. That I saw a video on Twitter. His start technique has changed. He's doing the 2 foot down thing, which is like
Yeah, he was always a 1 foot up guy, wasn't he?
yeah, the American version, which I know most Europeans end up having to switch it due to the depth of the ruts coming off the launch pad. But
Right.
like this early to be just searching that vaguely, that broadly. Like I know they said you won't know till you're at the races, but like how much do we not know? Like how far off
Yeah.
are we? So I don't know, man. I mean, I know we're both fans of the green, and I was a fan of Jorge coming over. Like I was about it. I was
Hmm.
excited for it.
Yeah.
Kits look good, like he looks good on the bike, but it's just yeah, man, there's just something that is blatantly wrong or missing. And it kind of gets to the point where it's like, how long does the industry continue to ask, "Oh, what's up with Jorge?" before we're just like, "This is Jorge now."
Yeah.
Like we're
Absolutely.
we're quick to forget.
And I think this ultimately gets to the bottom of the question is like, does gear look good or does winning look good? And the answer is like winning looks good because like he's had some
Yep.
fire kits, but like that's not making any waves from 10th on back. You know
Nope.
what I mean? Like it almost like doesn't look as good mid-pack and
Well,
dirty.
and the burden of expectation is a real thing in this sport
Absolutely.
just as much as any. And so, if you saw, if Grant Harlan out of nowhere pulled off a top 10 finish or something like that and his kit looked good, oh, we'd be singing about it. But when you have the burden that Jorge has built up, rightfully so over the year, and I mean it's a privilege. Pressure is a privilege. Yeah, it's just not cutting it, man. And so, I mean, it's got to be a tough time to be Jorge right now. I wouldn't want to be listening to Big MX or any other podcast for that matter, because you know what everybody's saying, you know what everybody's asking.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's similar to anybody that wants to chirp back at Deegan. Prove it when it's time. You got an answer, you got something to say. That's when to say it. Because right now, I don't think anything he says is going to be acceptable to anyone, whether it's Kawasaki, the fans, anybody, himself. Say whatever you want, back it up when the gate drops. That's what it's going to take.
Yeah, I think it's the ultimate go back to the drawing board and like this has to be better for 2026.
Yep.
I just hope for Jorge's sake that yeah, maybe he doesn't spend a lot of time on social media, maybe he doesn't listen to Big MX Radio on a regular basis. And if he does, maybe every time that he does like feel a little bit bad about himself, he quickly opens his online banking, checks out the statement like, yeah, we're doing okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess he's probably got a few more zeros on the right side of a decimal than I do,
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, he's got the easy. No, like he's got commas, bro.
yeah, yeah. What are
He's got
those?
commas. Like he's got a punctuation in
I
his.
thought those only came on bills. Wait a second. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. When someone and with the little red line at the bottom, it says
Yep.
like final notice or some shit. Um, we got a 2 week break here going into Sandwick, Dowick. I really actually like what they've got going on. Keith Johnson showed a video the other day, of course, talking about ditch pickles. He's got a 2002 KX 252 stroke that he did a little edit of him ripping around Southwick with. Um, what bike, what rider? You can like take anyone from history. What would you like to see an ISO cam of them by themselves, Southwick? They get it to themselves for 2 or 3 hot laps. Who's on the track?
Ooh. Hmm.
It's not an easy question.
I mean, like, part of me wants to say, like, I'd like to see Stewart on a KX 252 stroke.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Jimmy Dakotas,
J
125, maybe?
on a CR12 fizzle.
Yes. I mean, shout out my boy Danny Stew. It may never be the MX 207 video, but you got to think that's pretty good. But I don't know. I love the 125s, but as a bigger dude that would love to ride a 252 stroke, I'm gonna take Stu on a KX 252 stroke all day.
Yeah, and I'll just like maybe it's because I'm a 252 stroke guy. I'll take a factory 252 stroke at like in the hands of someone who knows what to do with it
Yep.
is a pleasure to the ear. Yeah,
Yeah, like I
that
know
would
my
be
dad's a 500 guy. Like he loves the deep sound of a five. I'll take
yeah.
a 250, man. That's my thing.
Nah, that's the Three Bears bike. That's not too hot, not
Which
too
I
cold.
will say, some of those videos of Dante Oliveira on that
Mm.
KTM 300, that thing
Hmm.
sounded pretty crisp too. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, old school on their bike, I just don't think you can argue with Stu on a 252 stroke.
Yeah, did Stu even race Southwick that year?
I don't think he did. That's kind of
I
what I
don't
was
think
sitting
he
here thinking
did.
was, have
Yeah,
we ever
no,
seen him
like
on
I don't
there?
no, I don't think there's any footage
Like,
of this. And if he did, it was probably it probably went poorly. Um, yeah, like
yeah,
that
yeah,
season we actually got robbed that year. Got absolutely robbed. That it just didn't go well for Stu because like the only year we could have ever had him on a 252 stroke. Um,
yeah, we got
and
screwed.
we just got yeah like we he was sick and then he was slow and then he lands on Carmichael and then he takes out
Hey,
Wyndham
but
at Redbud.
we will forever have the staircase up the hill at Unadilla on that
Oh, so
KX2. So God, I know what I'm watching when we hang up.
hell yeah. Was Southwick? Oh yeah, no, it's there. 250 results. This is good audio. No, he's not there.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't.
Oh, James Stewart, third 34-38. So there might be some practice footage. It
I
probably
was about to
got
say
burned shortly
that's
thereafter.
weird.
Yeah, I now I need to get to the
Mm,
bottom of
yeah,
what because yeah, Dave Ginolfi from 100% fame did better with a Ginolfi went 39-26.
yeah. Second moto, big dog.
Oh my God. These like
That's
the
awesome.
names in here are just unreal. Like just got like Nick Way, sixth overall, 2005 Southwick. RC goes 2-1. Oh, that's the year where Carmichael goes over the bars to end the perfect season to that point.
That's right.
Yeah. And Chad Reed gets his
Yeah,
first
Chad
first
got that
mode
moto,
win.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Dowdy goes 3-3 because
Yep.
why not? He's only
I watched Chad
400
Reed
years
this
old.
past weekend at the Loretta Lynn's regional qualifier on Sunday. He still
Yeah.
hauls ass.
Yeah, I think he's still got the juice, doesn't he?
Jesus.
Speaking of guys who still have the juice, he's probably still faster than both of us, even considering he is currently in a hospital bed. Thoughts, prayers, and donations to Mike Brown.
Yep.
Big injury. Seems like more of a head injury than anything else. He did end up having neck surgery to diffuse some vertebrae. But a scary moment for a guy who has been a legend in his pro career. He was a GNCC slash works legend for a short bit. He's the fastest vet rider maybe ever. Um, and yeah, the that speed came up and bit him a little bit about a week ago, and now he's got a lengthy recovery process on his hands. Curious to see just how far back, how far he can come back. Because
Yeah.
yeah, like Brownie turned pro in 1989. You weren't even a glimmer in your old man's eye at the time.
No, yeah, and that's it's funny because it's like to somebody of my age and my era, if I didn't love the Great Outdoors movies and stuff so much, there may be even less knowledge of Brownie, but it's like it is cool to see what he's still able to do. And it's cool to see the way people still talk about him. I mean, the top pros, because that's the thing is like it was down at the Triumph factory from what I understand. He was in Georgia, and what people don't understand is like Brownie's digging with these guys. Like he's
Yeah, no,
training
he's
with them. He's out there on the track with them. And I mean, the thing about it is,
world vets. He lapped me twice.
yeah, you gotta wonder like the speed to a certain point, if you never lose it, like if you stay on top of it, because that's what everybody talks about is the speed and the effortlessness that he's able to ride with. Very similar to the way Chad looked out there this weekend. Like
Hmm.
it's a second nature type thing. But
Hmm.
when it goes wrong, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not 20 anymore. And
Yeah,
and so that's anytime anything has to get fused or anything in the back neck area, that's some serious real deal stuff. So yeah, like you said, thoughts and prayers. I mean, guy's always been nothing but kind. Um, so I think it's a bummer, but it is a again a brutal reminder. This sport doesn't matter who you are, how good you were. Father Time wins all wars, and yeah, back ends will step out on you. So
absolutely. You know who else is in the results from '05 Southwick?
let's hear it.
Kyle Chisholm.
Yeah, cheers, good to cheers.
Chiz was chizzing back then, getting going 23-18 for 22nd overall, edging out Turbo Reef and Tucker Hibbert.
Wasn't Turbo Reef? Wasn't he in the Great Outdoors Privateers?
Yeah, he's in the privateer one. He's
95
with
or
the
something.
yeah, the
Yeah,
Lucas Oil team. He's number
yeah.
95. I think he came up. I know actually for a fact he came up and raced in Canada. If not that year, maybe the year prior to that. I remember hearing that name, Turbo Reef, like that. Like couldn't have been a cooler name.
This guy's
Uh,
sick.
yeah, no, like that. He wins the moto name of the 2000s. Mike Alessi goes 134, so it's safe to say his championship hopes were dashed for the '05 season at that point. And then eventual champion Ivan Tedesco, 4-5 on the day, fourth overall.
That's what I mean, man. Back then, 4-5. I mean, I think that's what Tomac got this past weekend. Like that was just, hey, that's a steady day, solid points day. Let's keep going. Like now, it's just the window has closed so much, and the room for error is essentially non-existent.
How about Ryan Hughes with an 8-2 over for third overall? Not a lot of 8-2s out there.
All right, wow.
Podiums, 8-2.
That's like C class at Loretta's type results there, where you're
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah,
how is
yeah.
that a third?
Yeah, no, we're gonna get some wild stuff. I'm looking forward to Loretta's. I will see you there. It is the hallmark of my summer schedule. I'm looking forward to it. Um, you're headed off to Snowshoe this weekend, correct?
Yep, snowshoe this weekend, and
Yeah,
then we'll be doing another bagger
be so
racing
much
league the
fun.
following weekend from home. Yeah, do that one remote. So
Love it, man. Well, thank you so much for making some time for the podcast. Always a good one when and are able to make time for it. The banter, the going. We talk about going off road, but then on the audio itself, we go off road. Like
yeah,
it's a real
yeah.
mix that I feel in the future could turn itself into like what we really need to do is like come up with like an actual show concept and then like record a few like pilot episodes and like just throw it to like 8-10 companies and actually get this thing sponsored full time and on this I go on a legitimate show and actually make this thing a more regular thing because it's just too good to pass up. But
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on, bud.
it's always fun, man. Yeah, like you said, it's not we're just chatting, if
Yeah.
nothing else. It's I ain't seen you in a minute and we're catching up. So it
Hmm.
is cool. And that's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, what you don't understand is this is what I would have been talking about even if we weren't recording it. So we
Yeah.
might as well record it, because it's just who we are. So it's always a good time, man. Like I said, I don't get to do it quite as much as I'd like to right now, but man, I enjoy you always reaching out, and anytime I can, I make sure I will. So until next time, brother.
All right. Well, as we do on many of these podcasts, we're going to go out with Out at the Ranch, Zac Herrin.
Woo!